Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
We are in an election year, obviously, and the Hispanic vote has never been more important. But one group that has done a better job over the years at getting the Hispanic vote has been the Democratic Party, and my guest here says that needs to change. He is Orlando Salazar. He's with the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. Welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Jeff. Thanks.
Well, let's go back in time. Historically, how did it come about that Hispanics vote Democratic largely?
It's out of tradition. My parents, I'm 63 years old. My parents were both born in Texas. My dad in Alice, Texas, my mom in Bastrop. And they were very blessed to be able to both go to college. And so they're educated folks. But the Democrat Party has overwhelmingly dominated Texas politics, especially through the 50s and 60s. So voting Democrat just came natural for them, especially the advent of JFK, and people loved him. They started voting for him, and they voted Democrat their whole lives. I'm not sure how I evolved as a more conservative person, but the first time I was able to vote, I voted for Ronald Reagan. And I just continued to vote Republican. And to be honest with you, I don't know how that happened. It just did. But my parents continued to vote Democrat. My mom, as my dad passed away about 25 years ago, my mom is 93 years old, and about 10 years ago, she voted Republican for the first time because she started listening to me. So I know I have at least one convert.
We're going to show a little B-roll of a rally not too long ago. You and I were talking off camera. When you talk about family values, when you talk about a lot of conservative values, that really describes the Hispanic voter, doesn't it?
It really does. Hardworking, family first, God first, traditional values. All those values that seem to be connected to the Republican Party or conservatism definitely apply to Hispanics for sure, and in my case, Mexican Americans.
How are the candidates running on the Republican side doing, reaching the Hispanic vote? Are they concentrating enough on it?
No, I don't think they are. No, they lose their focus, I think, and they go where the money is. Number one, they go for the kind of assured vote or voting groups. Hispanics, Mexican Americans specifically, haven't been dependable voters. We haven't voted in large numbers. And so candidates look at that and they go, well, why should I spend time trying to attract this demographic when they haven't traditionally voted? We're working on that. We're trying to build up our voting rolls. We've, as an organization, combined with another organization, we've signed up over 10,000 voters for this voting cycle. So we're working on those things. Plus, we're trying to just get out news about the things that you just talked about, especially now, yes. The kind of values that we need to promote going forward for our country.
Well, you first reached out to me a couple of weeks ago, and when you told me this story, I said to myself, this really is the sleeping giant. I mean, there's so much power here, isn't there?
There's a lot of power here. I look at Dallas, for instance, and I look at the fact that the inner city, which is Dallas, which it traditionally has controlled the city, is slowly, and not even slowly, quickly becoming predominantly Mexican American. but we don't see that in the leadership of the city. We see the city dominated by black leaders. I think as Hispanics, as Mexican Americans, we could kind of take over if we just exerted the muscle, the power that we have of numbers. We could do something there. And if we could just get our people to understand that our values need to be better reflected in our leadership, we could do something.
So you told me something today on the phone that shocked me. Is there no conservative Hispanic member of Congress right now?
One just got elected in California. That's Hispanic, right?
Right.
Yeah, Mike Garcia. He's the only one. One.
Amazing.
Yes. It's not amazing. It's sad.
Yes.
It's terrible.
So
what's even worse is that none from Texas.
Right.
None.
Well, something tells me you're gonna change that, but we want to show a little bit about when people join the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, where their money goes, because some of it goes to lobbying. This is a clip out of Florida.
Lobbying. You'd think it would be tedious or boring, but when you are going to represent your organization, your community, made up of the people you love, lobbying becomes a form of service to them and for them. And it's them we do it for. It's them we get on flights for and long-hour drives to the Capitol. It's you. You are the reason why we are sleep-deprived and have way too many shots of Cuban coffee. You are the reason why we do what we do. Florida Gun Rights dropped off 40,000 petitions to House reps and senators. Petitions you signed. We personally delivered them for you because we care. Because our future generations are counting on us to stand together and fight. So let's fight together.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. So I'm wondering, because we've identified the conservative values really does match the mindset of mainstream Hispanics. When you're at a cocktail party and you're starting to persuade, somebody you've met for the first time, does the light bulb go off? Do they see things the way you do?
They have. It's not a surprise to anybody anymore. This is not new, something new anymore. But what is, I guess what we need to do is take the next step, do something about it, start moving the needle. That's what we need to do. Is we don't have leadership. It's really sad. I wanted to have a fundraiser a couple of years ago, and I thought, well, what Mexican American can I bring in, high profile person, nationally known, that I could bring in for this fundraiser? I couldn't think of a single person.
Wow.
It's really sad. I would say, George P. Bush is a well-known figure.
Yes.
But I would like to see him do more as far as getting involved with leadership. He's not. His dad is obviously Anglo. But I would like to see, weird term, but full-blooded Mexican Americans. Those of us who are really Mexican American here in Texas, we need to start being leaders. And so we're going to use our platform to start bringing up, especially young leaders. We need them desperately, because the left never sleeps. The left eats, drinks. It's their religion, politics. As conservatives, we do politics every 2 or 4 years. And in between, we don't do a whole lot. We need to understand and realize that the left, liberals, never stop. They are always at it, because we have our religion, we have our values, we have our churches, and we practice that on a daily basis. It's sad to say that the left practice their religion too, which is politics, which is moving their agendas forward on a nonstop basis.
We're going to show some video of some campaigning that you guys have done. I pulled this off of your Facebook, just still pictures. Tell me about some of the campaigns you guys are working on right now.
Well, so obviously Dan Crenshaw in Houston, great guy, who is going to be in a tight race. Personally, I'm involved with Luisa Del Rosal here in Dallas. She is running for a state house, so I think it's 114. It flips from blue to red, and Luisa is from Mexico, fantastic, well-educated, is a great candidate. So we're supporting Luisa as well. We're supporting Genevieve Collins here, who's running against Colin Allred. We're supporting Beth Van Dyne as well. There's some Hispanic candidates running in El Paso, in the Valley, in San Antonio, a guy named Tony Gonzalez, who's a terrific candidate, who is actually supported by Will Hurd, the current congressman. So we've got some wonderful candidates out there, both Mexican-American and Anglo, that we're fighting really hard to support because, hey, we want to keep Texas red no matter, we want the best candidates, period. Whether they're brown or white, or it doesn't matter. We want the best candidate to win, but we want that candidate to be conservative.
I was really impressed at the breadth of the organization. We're going to show your website in some of the state chapters. I mean, you guys are really active all over the country.
We're in 23 states. I think we're about to get into 25. We're adding a couple more Washington states coming in. So, yeah, it's a great organization. There are Hispanics living all over the country, and we have this mindset. You know, like, for instance, Venezuela. I mean, there are Venezuelans who have fled Venezuela because of what happened in their country. And they are like the Cubans of 40, 50 years ago. The Venezuelans are the Cubans of today because of what they've seen happen in their country. So if you want to know exactly what happens when socialism or Marxism comes into a country, talk to a Venezuelan and they'll tell you.
So what is the secret to getting out the conservative Hispanic vote?
Well, that's a great question. Money. You know, money talks. Money helps us do grassroots marketing, promoting and developing websites and podcasts, something like this, what we're doing today. So, yeah, it takes money. And it takes politicians to be interested in hearing our story and letting us know that they care. Because with Hispanics, we're emotional people. You know, we want to know, we want to have an emotional tie to somebody and know that somebody's listening to us and they care about what we think and what our needs are.
Yeah. Well, I knew I had to have you on my show. You speak with so much passion. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure.
We're going to end with your website and the domain right there on the screen. Reach out to them and get plugged in. Thank you, Orlando. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah.
All right.
These days, right? These
yeah,
times.
do you
Yeah,
bump
what do we
it?
do there?
Okay, that's it for now. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.